Aussizz Group Werribee and Aussizz Group Truganina. Actually, I'm a registered migration agent. So as usual, we are here again today at 5 o'clock on every Friday. So as you know that we are doing the question and answer session like as has Ask Aussizz. So most of you might be aware that the purpose of this session is like answering all the questions from the client perspective. So we already did like few sessions earlier, and it's quite helpful for our clients as per their feedback. So we'll be continually doing this again. So if you have any questions in relation to your visa applications, in relation to like about any state nomination or any other further matters related to migration, education, you can put questions on the comment and we will try to answer those during this session. And I think this is live stream on different platform like YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. So people from all the platform more than welcome to put a comments over there, and we will try to answer as many comments as we can. And we also suggest everyone to share this live session so that like your friends or family members can see this, and they can also ask any questions if they have in relation to their personal situation. So most likely, I think we will wait for a few more minutes, maybe until we get any comments about any questions. So once like we have all the like most of the questions, we will start the sessions. Until then, like we have one of the most popular, questions from everyone, that what is the current trend for immigration compared to last year? So I believe that in comparison to the 2022, 2022-2023 financial year, this year will be also similar to that, as like there were around 195,000 quota or similar to that last year, and immigration has kept similar for this financial year as well. However, we are still waiting for the actual quota for each state as well. So once we have those details for each state, like how much seats they allocate, then most likely all of the state nominations criteria will be announced as well. So that's also one of the important update everyone is waiting for currently. So we'll also share those details as soon as we'll get from them, and we'll share those on our Facebook page and all other like platform. So I think we got a few questions. So let's just start. So Sanjeev is asking that, is there any update for 191 visa grant? So Sanjeev, actually, we have lodged many visa applications for 191 already. And like we haven't received any one visa actually yet. However, we haven't also get any request from immigration to ask for any further documents or anything yet. But we have seen like a couple of updates on the Facebook from like personal client that they have got the visa, but actually we haven't received it for any of us, our client, So we will also say that actually that whenever we'll get anyone's visa for our client for 191, we'll straight away post it on our Facebook page. Lakshmi asking that advise the requirement for 485 after 500 master student. Okay, so if you have studied master on a student visa, like 500 subclass, and then if you want to apply for the temporary graduate 485 visa, then you will be fall under most likely a post-study work stream. And major requirement will be completing 2 years study in Australia, which is 92 weeks registered course and 16 calendar month study. And that course must be in last 6 months. Even your current student visa should be in there, or it should have been expired within last 6 months. And you need to have 6 overall and 5 each equivalent IELTS score or equivalent PTE score, which is 50 overall as well. And apart from that, one of the critical requirement for TR is Australian Federal Police check. So before applying for your TR, you must need to apply for the Australian Federal Police check for immigration purpose. It is mandatory thing. If you do not supply any evidence, or if you're not applied for Australian Federal Police check before applying for the TR, then immigration officer can refuse your TR application. Next question is from Vishal, and he's asking that chances for 190 Victoria Engineering Technologies at 90 points. So as for, if you compare it for last year, actually we have received engineering technologies invitation with lesser than 90 points as well. But Victoria actually worked differently last year, that they have prioritized applicants who were having a skilled partner and working like they have a higher annualized salary and all, So if they continue to do those things this year as well, then like if you have a skilled partner, then there could be high chance. But if they change any different requirements for this year, then it can affect. So it all depends, like whatever will be the new requirements. But having a 90 points is a good thing, I believe, and you get a good chance as well for other states. So wait for that state nomination updates from us. So next question is from Prashant, and like he's asking that what is the possibility to get a PR in ICT support engineer with 85 points and you are a single. So 85 points, again, it's a good score for IT applicants. However, like for last financial year, we have received invites around 90-95 points as well. And some of the applicants are also waiting with 95. But we have also received invite with 75 points as well for IT applicants, like maybe they are related to ICT support engineer or software engineer, But if you consider it for Victoria State nomination, they were inviting like based on the skilled partner guidelines. So if you have a skilled partner, they will prioritize. But if you are in other state, let's say New South Wales, Western Australia, then the Queensland, so all state has different requirements, and like they also invite applicants who has a higher points actually. So like I would say you get a good chance, but we just wait for the further update from the state and see, let's say wherever you're staying, what are the requirements. If you're not able to meet the requirement for those states, you may be eligible for applying for other states as well, if you are ready to move interstate, most likely. Next question is from Mike, 491 visa, when we can get it after section 56 requirement. So actually, there is no standard processing time for getting a visa if you received any update from the immigration that asking for some of the documents, but it can be processed anytime after you supply all the documents, because they check those documents and they see that all of the documents are all right, and then they process the visa application actually. So you can get the visa anytime after getting the section 56 requirement from immigration. But if you do not receive anything, let's say anything from immigration after like 4 weeks or after 6 weeks, we suggest that you can try to follow up to them. If it's above the processing time, then above than the usual processing time, then they can try to update you on that. We have another question from Simran, and the question is that marketing specialist related. So are there good opportunities, and what is the cutoff for the same points wise actually? So marketing specialist is actually in short-term skilled occupation list. And if it's in short-term skilled occupation list, then you can apply for a 190 state nomination, 491 skilled regional visa, or a 482 employer sponsored visa. However, 482 doesn't lead to 186 for marketing specialist currently, but immigration is planning to do that as well in near future. But you get a good chance to apply for a state nomination. So it all depends in which state you are staying. So we have received an invite for 190 as well, or 491 as well for Victoria state nomination, South Australia as well. So it all depends that your occupation is available into particular state occupation list. And if you're able to meet the requirement, then there are good chances, because we have quite a number of applicants who are under this occupation, and they are able to successfully get the invitation from those states actually. Again, we got the same question from Amanjot that about 191. So 191 is, everyone aware, it's a skilled regional permanent residency visa after 491. So lots of applicants already applied. Even we have applied as well for our clients, but we are still waiting for a visa application, like visa grant for those clients. And we have also not received any update from immigration for those clients yet. So we suggest that you should wait. I think they will, whenever they will try to process, they will most likely process it for most of the clients who applied earlier around March or February, who were eligible at the time as well. So, but we haven't received anyone visa for 191. So there is one user asking that, will the point system be abolished? Okay, so there is no such confirmation yet from the department that it will be abolished or something for this financial year. But as Home Affairs Minister announced during a press conference earlier this year, that they are planning to make some changes into the current visa system and maybe in current point system as well. So, but they are not, they might not able to do it for this financial year. They might do it for the next financial year or maybe later on, because they need, it may affect to the lot of applicants who are already in the process, or they might give them a time if there are some major changes coming up, So I don't think that they will completely abolish, but they might make some changes, and those changes can be affected to all the future applicants, So for this financial year, we believe that it will remain the same point system as the last year. There is another question from Simran, and so it is related to Queensland offering 190 visa for offshore candidates for marketing specialists. So Simran, actually it all depends that currently it is closed for all the states, no updates yet for the onshore and the offshore applicants as well. And it all depends that occupation list. So once we received an occupation list from each state, then you need to see that your occupation is available on their list, and based on the availability of your occupation, you need to see that if you're able to meet the requirement for the state nomination, because sometimes it may happen that your occupation is available on their list, but whatever they are asking to apply, you might not able to meet the requirement, so you cannot apply for that state nomination, or if you apply, you will not able to get the invitation for that state, So for Queensland particularly, I think it's not available because it's closed for the financial year update. So they should open it soon, most likely by September or something, we believe. And at that time, whenever it announced, we'll update it on our page, so you can get an update at that time. There is one more question from Kapila. When are the seat allocation coming? So there is no update yet on that as well. Usually the immigration announced in July, but as July already passed and first week also, I think nearly gone for the August, we're expecting that it should be announced in August, so that at least state nomination criteria should be announced by September, so that immigration or the state start assessing the application for this financial year. But immigration actually do not say exactly when they'll be announcing. They can announce at any time, One more question from Garima. Any chances for 189 ICT business analyst at 85 points? So for 189, actually, it all depends on the immigration quota for that particular visa and how immigration will be allocating that quota as per the occupation wise. So last year, immigration has mostly used 189 quota for the registered nurse occupation, social work, early childhood pre-primary school teacher, some of the trade occupations as well. So, but we haven't seen much invitation for the IT, or maybe none to that. So there are chances if immigration change their policy to give the invitation for this financial year for all other occupations like IT engineers as well. So, but you should apply for it definitely because if you have 65 points and above, you are eligible to apply for 189 application for expression of interest and wait for the invite. And you can also try at the same time for state nomination 190 as well, Prashant asking another question that you got experience of 3 years plus skilled working in Victoria. So if you got a 3 years plus experience as well, then you get a good chance. But again, if Victoria is prioritizing the applicants with a skilled partner, then you may be consider at a lower level if you do not have a skilled partner, but it all depends. So whatever the new requirements will be coming for the Victoria, it can affect, because we have also received invites, someone who has 3 years, 5 years of experience in their field, but they also had a skilled partner, So skilled partner, I think Victoria chose it as one of the important factor when giving an invitation last year. We got one more questions from LinkedIn, and it is in relation to IT. So analyst programmer with 75 points for 491 visa, what are the chances for South Australia? So with 75 points for 491, I think you got a good chance. It all depends that because South Australia has multiple stream, that like graduate stream, that is for the applicant studied over there. There is a working stream that if you have a working experience in related occupation over there for 1 year, 6 months, you may be eligible. There was a stream for like skilled, the regional working stream as well, which for outer regional, where if you work 6 months part-time, 20 hours per week, any occupation, they have invited at 65 points as well. So you get a good chance. It depends that you need to choose the right stream for that occupation in South Australia. But wait for the new updates as well from the immigration. We got another question from Maya, and does Aussizz Group do free assessment, online counseling, or same is chargeable? So actually it all depends because we have different guidelines for different state and different offices. So you can contact our nearest office and ask for the update, because sometimes we provide a free consultation as a part of an offer, or sometimes like we charge $410 for the consultation, but we can reimburse our service consultation fees if you opt any services for us. So actually it all depends, for which branch you are inquiring. So we suggest you to contact our nearest branch for the consultation charges. There is one more question from Salim, and he's asking that wanting to ask whether employment assessment will be needed to claim points for the skilled employment. What if employment not assessed by authority? Can we still claim points for that employment period? So skilled employment is not mandatory to apply for a permanent residency. So like if you have a skilled employment and your assessment authority has given a negative outcome for the employment assessment, but however you got a successful skill assessment for your qualification, and if that is eligible to apply for your general skill migration visa, then it is not necessary that assessment authority has mandatory assessed that experience, as long as you have a sufficient evidence to prove your experience, like experience letter, your pay slips, bank statement to prove your salary, income tax returns, and any other pay evidences that can support your experience, and that experience is after your qualification, then you can able to get the you can able to claim the point even if the assessment authority has not assessed that experience. There is one more question as well from Salim. He is asking that what are your thoughts on criteria for South Australia requirement for 491? Do you expect to be the same based on your intensive experience? So we believe that South Australia is not the state which usually change much every year. So the current requirement is, I think, that for almost 2 to 3 years. So we believe that the graduate stream, even working stream, outer regional stream will be similar as last year. However, there might be some minor changes, but they may keep the similar stream, and they make changes according to the occupations, what occupations they might require in their state. But generally, South Australia is open to most of the occupations, or I would say like all of the occupations. But when they're about to fill their quota, then they restrict the invitation for some of the occupations only. We got a question from Tina that is it possible to apply for 190 while on 482 visa? Definitely, you can apply for a 190 visa while you are on 482 visa, as there is no restriction. As long as you are eligible, you have enough points, skill assessment, and you got an invite, you can apply for the visa. Once you get a 190 visa, then your 482 visa will cease automatically, and then like you can be a permanent resident. There could be only restriction on 190 visa application lodgement when you already have a 491 visa grant, which is a skilled regional visa. If you already have a 491 visa for like 5 years, you cannot apply for a permanent residency for next 3 years, but there is no such condition for a 482 visa. So you can still apply for 190 visa application. There is a question from Mayank. So is offshore mechanical engineering with 75 points in 189 any chances, or it's a huge waiting period? So Mayank, for offshore, actually, we believe that if you apply for a 189, it all depends that because last year when immigration did the first round for a 189, immigration has invited a lot of applicants from overseas with lower points. and they didn't invite many applicants who also have higher points compared to offshore when they were onshore, So, but it's not necessary that immigration keep doing those things. So you should apply for 189 EOI, and you should also target for applying for 190 state nomination for all other states if you're eligible, and also apply for a 491 regional visa as well. So you can have a backup option for all the visas. And if you don't get a 189 on right time, you can apply for a 190 or 491 as well as a backup. And you can come to Australia directly from overseas, Okay, there is one long question from Krishan. So let's just see. It is in relation to ACS. So he said, I want to claim points till July in 2023, but my current organization payslips and superannuation are only updated till March in 2023. However, I can provide bank statement only till July if I submit ACS this week. Do you consider till July? Actually, when you are making a skill assessment application for ACS, ACS generally asks for all the evidences in relation to your employment. And if you want to claim until July, and if you just have evidence until March, then I would say you should wait for the updated documents, because ACS generally sometimes do not ask for any additional documents. And if they believe that the documents you supplied are less compared to what you're claiming, then they can refuse the skill assessment application straight away. So instead of doing it in a rush, just wait for the updated document. At least you should wait for your pay slips and all other pay evidences, and then apply for the skill assessment application so that your application can go through successfully. There is a question from Yasmin. Any time limit process for 191? So for 191, I think we can see that it's quite a popular visa these days, because lots of applicants are waiting from last 3 years to be eligible, and now they're eligible and apply for the visas as well. So we expected that there should not be longer processing time, as there is no as such queue for this visa at the moment. However, as people are eligible and they have already lodged the visa, so if immigration delayed the overall processing of this visa, then the applicants applying later on, they might be delayed in their processing time as well. However, there is no actual update on the processing time. But if immigration start, let's say, assessing the application now, then I would say the applicants applied around February and March, they might be able to get the visas from now on, So it might be 5 to 6 months of processing time, but that is just based on if they are starting to process it from now only, So we should wait for the actual update from the immigration for the processing of those visas. And we will also advise you that if you get any visas for our clients, then we shall update it on our Facebook page. So there is one more question from Kasim, and he's asking that just want to ask from student side that in trimester break, a break in between semester, our students are allowed to work full-time in that 9 or 10 days. So as long as your semester or trimester is finished and your next trimester is like not yet started, then during your holiday break, you can work full-time, So it doesn't matter it's 9 to 10 days, 1 month, 2 months, or there is summer break of 3 months, So as long as if it is in between of your 2 semester or trimester, you can able to work full-time. There is one more question from Saleh that will Victoria's criteria to be somewhat same as last financial year? What do you recommend about a painter wanting to get 491 nomination from Victoria? Victoria criteria might be similar to the last year, because Victoria, I think, comfortable with the registration of interest ROI system, So because they got quite a good number of applications for the ROI, and they sorted out the applicants based on the ROI. So we believe that they might come up with the similar requirements as well for the last year. But there is only one drawback, that because last financial year, we haven't seen any invite for the trade occupations like for construction industry and all. We have received an invite for the cooks, chef for 491 or 190 for Victoria, but we didn't receive any invite for any other trade occupations, So if Victoria should focus more, I think this year, this financial year, on a trade occupations as well. But as it all depends at how many seats allocation they will get it for this financial year, and what occupations they need as per the resource requirement from different industries, in Victoria. Chaitanya, okay, so what is the cost for partner visa? So if you ask for the immigration perspective, so immigration fees has increased significantly for this financial year for the partner visa. It used to be around 8,100 or something. This year it is around 8,800 for the partner visa application for onshore or offshore. But actually partner visa is comprising of two stages, you know. So you apply for the like temporary partner visa, which is 820 or 309. And then you need to apply for permanent partner visa after 2 years, which is like 100 or 801. So immigration charged the 8,800 for the temporary and the permanent partner visa together. So you don't need to apply for you don't need to pay any extra fees after 2 years. We got a question from Sapna, and hi, I have received electrical engineering positive outcome. Is there any chance now for 189 and 70 points in Queensland? Hi Sapna, so as you already have a skill assessment as an electrical engineer with 70 points, and if you already applied for 189, that's good. You just paid for the 189, because 189, it all depends, as I said, that immigration like invite which occupations first, or what occupations they are targeting. So there are no time frame for that, but you can focus on 190 or 491 for Queensland. So as soon as the requirement for the Queensland would be announced, you can also try to meet those requirements and apply for 190 and 491 for Queensland state. There is a question from Ken. Hello, why 189 processing time keep increasing every month? When do you think grants will happen for nurse 189 applied in June for May invitation round? Actually, 189 is assessed not that much longer, you know, mostly, as we have seen most of the visa grants for the last year, December, January, February as well, you know, as you just applied recently. We believe that the processing time would apply 5 to 6 months currently. So you should be able to get the visa if everything goes normal, or if processed as usual, then by end of this year. But actually it all depends. Immigration generally update the processing time based on the number of applications are there in their system to be assessed, and what are the number of quota they got it to grant those visas, and what are the number of visas they already granted for that financial year, you know. So there are multiple factors involved under that. So, but there is no as such major delays currently for 1891. So I would suggest do not worry about the processing time currently, you know. There is a question from Jigar. He's asking welder 189 for 70 points, 190 with 70 points. So welder, actually, it's a quite a good occupation, because there is a less competition, I believe. For 189, again, it all depends. If immigration prioritize like trade occupations, then you get a good chance to get the invite with 70 points. For 190 Victoria, it all depends, because last year we haven't seen much invite, even if there is less competition. But we believe that for this financial year, they might able to start the invitation for the trade occupations, and you get a good chance as well for the E190. Hamid is asking that, is department granting 190? Yes, definitely. I mean, department is already processing 190 applications, which has been launched last financial year, and they are processing and they are granting the visas as well. They're requesting the documents if there are some missing documents. So if you already applied, make sure that your visa application is up to date. You have submitted all the required documents like police check, medical, Form 80 if necessary, you know. So, and it can, and based on that, your application can be processed, you know, quickly. There is a question from Krishan. Can I lodge my EY with pending outcome of skill assessment in software engineering? Krishan, actually, you can lodge an EY with a pending skill assessment, and you can put a reference number of your application acknowledgement. However, you must need to get a skill assessment outcome within 60 days of invitation. You know, let's say if you received an invitation today and your invitation is expiring in 60 days, so you must get the skill assessment in within 60 days time and before lodging your visa. If you do not receive the invitation before 60 days, and if you already lost the visa, then that could be a trouble and your visa could be refused as well. There is a question from Maninder. What are my chances for motor mechanic 70 points for 189 and 75 points for 190 currently in Victoria? when can we expect 189 invitation round? So you got a good chance with 189, because last year specifically, we have received many invitations for 65 points for a motor mechanic and for 189. And for 190, we haven't received many invitation for 75 points or like motor mechanic particularly. So, but immigration keep doing as per the last financial year, then you get a good chance to get the invite for 189 as well. But let's just wait for the actual invitation round for 189, and it can happen anytime after immigration releasing the state nomination quota and other updates for the general skill migration, There is another question from Krishan. He's asking, also after I lodge my ACS skill assessment, can I resign from the current organization? You can do that. There is no in direct relationship with your resignation with the ACS assessment, but your company must verify all the details as per your documents in the experience letter and your pay slips that you have worked over there, during that period, and your duties as per that. So as long as your documents are verifiable, then you do not need to worry about leaving your current job, as it's just based on your current situation, So Ranjit is asking 189 processing time for IT occupations, and he's waiting from 7 months. Actually, it can be processed anytime. So I believe that if it's not open yet, you should be able to submit all updated documents to them. If it is expired, your police check or medical expired, you can do it again and submit it to them. And still, if you're not getting the response, then you can try to email them. And if your processing processing of your application is beyond the actual processing time, then you can also do a global feedback where you can request an immigration to get an update about your application if it's more delay in your application, than the standard processing time. There is another question from Francis. Good evening, Francis. So what are the chances for early childhood teacher at 70 points onshore applicants? You got a good chance with 70 points because we already received an invitation for most of our early childhood teacher occupations last year with 65 points, even for the state, even for the 189. So it's just a matter of starting the invitation for this financial year, and you can expect your invitation, we believe, soon. There is another question from Salim, and he's asking that nowadays Department of Immigration, how long they take for 190 and 491 if you claim experience points. So actually it all depends, and it is individual application wise. We believe that the processing time can change because sometimes if you are claiming an experience for your visa application, then if you have not supplied related documents, sufficient documents to immigration, then they can request for another documents. You supply those documents to immigration, then it's like happen that. So in that way, it may delay your application, but if you supplied all the documents at the same time, then they can consider it as a normal application, There is another question from Syed, and it is in relation to 190 New South Wales application for 80 points and 75 points for 189 as a motor mechanic. Okay, so for 190 New South Wales, it all depends what will be the update coming for this financial year. But for 189, if immigration keep doing the invitation as per the last financial year, then I believe that you can get the invitation easily for 189. So you should, I think, get the invitation for 190 as well. But if they are coming up with any extra requirement of 2 years, 3 years, 5 years of experience in your occupation, then it can affect your invitation. Otherwise, for that occupation as well, you got a good chance. Mike is asking that since I'm offshore, which Aussizz branch or contact person can I contact for free assessment if feasible? Yes, Mike, actually you can contact to any of our nearest office wherever you are staying. So in offshore, we have an office in India, in Dubai as well. So you can contact to our Delhi office, Ahmedabad office, or whichever nearest office. Or you can also send your resume to any of our onshore offices as well. And we can try to assess your resume, and we can see if you're eligible. We can look after from our onshore office as well in Australia. Syed Ibrahim, he's asking that he has an 80 points. I think it's the same question again. So it's already answered. There is one more question from Ashan and Danushka. So if I go on a vacation to my home country after applying for 190, will it be a problem for invitation or visa grant? Actually, if you go overseas after lodging a visa, or if you're after lodging a state nomination, or after lodging an EOI, it should not affect anything. It just affects that, let's say if you're working currently in your occupation, and if you want to claim higher points, and if it's your unpaid leave, then you will not able to claim that unpaid duration you spend overseas in terms of your skilled experience. But if you're going overseas after lodging a 190 visa after getting invitation, then it should not make a difference anything. You can spend like as much time as you want after lodging visa. However, it can indirectly affect your citizenship application later on when you apply for citizenship, because citizenship generally be processed based on your stay in Australia and stay outside of Australia in last 4 years. So you just need to make consider that as well if you're thinking to applying for a citizenship after getting permanent residency. Okay, we got another question from Vishnu, and he's asking, why partner visa they increased to 96 months? Will they take a long for getting grant? We believe that it's just maybe their internal system which reflecting 96 months automated system, but we believe it will not be that much late, as we have received like visas for like partner visa for 309 or 820, which is like maybe in less than 6 months as well. Recently, we got one like application opening within a month as well, you know. So I don't think so you need to worry about 96 months. It's too long. Everyone knows that. And because after 2 years, anyhow, you will be eligible for a permanent partner visa as well, you know. So just apply for the partner visa, submit all the required documents, and hopefully applications should be processed within 1 year, you know, we believe on an average. There is a question from Karthik, and he's asking that he has an 80 points for 190 Victoria, 75 points for 189. Actually, Karthik, you got a missing information about which occupation. So it all depends which occupation you have those points, and invitation can depend majorly on the occupation. So if you can like put your occupation in the comment again, I can try to answer the question. There is a question from Francis. He's asking that my question is, can my wife get points for the Master of Education in Early Childhood? Francis, actually, it all depends. If she has studied a Master or Bachelor of Education in Early Childhood, and if she has total 4 years of study from Bachelor to Master or Graduate Diploma in Early Childhood, and if she get IELTS English score as listening, speaking 8, reading, writing 7, or total 4 years study in Australia on Bachelor to Master or Graduate Diploma, then she can able to get the skill assessment, and she can give you points for like skilled partner, or she can even apply her application independently as well, and you can be a dependent on her visa, you know. There is a question from Lenny, and he's asking, after graduated, could I apply sponsorship instead of 485 visa for self-occupation? Lenny, that's a good question, you know. So you can apply for a 482 visa, which is employer sponsor visa, or a 186 visa after like graduating here. There is no necessity to apply for 485, but you must need to make sure that you meet the requirement for 482 or 186 visa, because for 482 visa, you need to have a 2 years of experience full-time in last 5 years and 5 with score before getting a sponsor through an employer. And for 186 visa, you need to have a 3 years of full-time experience in last 10 years, skill assessment, and 6 with score. So if you meet that requirement, then you can apply for the 186 visa employer as well through employer. If you're not able to meet those requirements, you can go on a graduate 485 visa. You can meet those requirements for 482 or 186 on a graduate visa, and then you can apply for the employer sponsored visa, you know. There is a question from Ali as well. It is in relation to electrical engineer for Victoria State nomination, 80 plus 5 points working in own field. So 85 points actually a good points, I would say, because we received an invite around 85 points for electrical engineer last financial year. But again, it will depend that they will keep the same requirement for this year. And if you have a skilled partner, then it can increase your chances again to get the invitation. So just wait for the update from the Victoria. Ramesh, like what is the backlog of health, safety, environment, occupation in 190 or 491? So actually you got some missing information, but if environmental occupations are again held for like, quite less number of applicants in that. So you got less competition. So if you get the higher points and if you get the skill assessment and you get a good chance to get the 491 invitation, you just need to wait for the right state nomination application. So it means like applying for right state like Victoria or maybe New South Wales or Perth or like Western Australia. Wherever you're eligible, you should apply for that and you can try to get the invitation. There is another question from Vishnu. It's like, after lodging a citizenship, can I go to India for 2 to 3 months? Is there any restriction? Vishnu, actually, there is no such restriction for going in overseas after lodging a citizenship application. But the purpose of lodging a citizenship application that you will be staying here permanently. So during your citizenship application period, if you spend extensive period overseas, then they may question at the time of interview that what was the reason of going overseas. So if it's a genuine reason, then they can be all right. But if they believe that you don't have an intention to stay here in Australia during your citizenship application because you stay like longer overseas, it can affect your citizenship application, But if you're going for 2 to 3 months, then I believe it will not make a difference. But if you're going for like 6 months, about a year or something during the processing, then that can affect definitely for your citizenship application. There is a question from Parav. What are the prospects of PR for offshore civil engineering with 5 years experience and 7 each? So actually, this is quite a good prospect, because for civil engineering, again, engineering occupation is easy to get the skill assessment, and you get a good 5 years of experience and get a 7 each as well. So your points would be roughly around 65 points, from offshore or maybe more than that. You get a good chance to get the invite for 491 or 190 as well eventually. And you can also apply for 189 if you get at least 65 points. Because if you have a 65 points, you can also lodge 189, 190, 491, all three. So I would suggest you get a good chance. So you apply for the state nomination. There is a question from Pragnesh. So he's asking, what about the 𝐤𝐴𝐺𝐻 bill which passed before his employer hiring overseas applicants? Pragnesh, actually 𝐤𝐴𝐺𝐻 is visa is through labor agreement, 𝐤𝐴𝐺𝐻 labor agreement, and that is through employer sponsored application. So it all depends that if you apply for a job in Australia through an 𝐤𝐴𝐺𝐻, and if you have an experience overseas and right qualification, and if you're eligible, and if your employer is ready to sponsor you, then they can sponsor you on that visa for 482, which is a temporary visa. You can come here on a 482 visa, and they can convert on 186 visa if you're eligible, which is a permanent residency. But it is quite hard to get a job from offshore. But you can try, definitely. If you have a relevant experience, you may be able to get the employment, There is another question from Ashen Danushka. Any prediction on South Australia opening? As we are still waiting for the quota from immigration about each individual state, it may delay the opening of the state nomination for all of the state in Australia. So we expect that it may go up to September as well, and some of the state it might get delayed even after September. So just wait and watch. Hopefully they will announce soon, as everyone is waiting for that. Okay, there is a last question, I think, from Vishnu. He said that he applied for partner visa 309 from Australia. My wife is from India. Will my processing office will be from New Delhi? If you apply for 309 and if your wife is based in India, then most likely processing of your partner visa will be from the embassy in New Delhi. So the processing of all the documents and application, or even if an interview, most likely it will be processed from New Delhi. But it will not make much difference because let's say if you're applying for the partner visa from India, And if it's a New Delhi, then they will only have the applicants who applied for the partner visa through like Indian countries, passport holder, So there might be like some less number of applicants as well. So your application will be processed quickly. So it is nothing in relation to a processing time. If your application will be processed through a New Delhi or Sydney, or any other like state or city. How long does it take to grant 491 visa applied in May 2023? Yes, Mohammed. Actually, currently, I believe that the processing time is quite quicker for 491 visa, and it can be processed in like 4 months to 6 months as well, or even maybe quicker than that time. So if you supplied all the right documents and there are no other pending documents, you can expect it maybe in 4 months, we believe, if immigration go with its current flow. There is a question from Kirandeep. If someone lost EUI at 65 and losing 5 points because of age, what will happen to the EUI? Does it get withdrawn from the system itself? And if updating the EUI next day, does it mean the EUI submitted from the new start date? I mean, not in the existing expired EUI, will it be a new EUI? So let's say if you already have a 65 points and if you get a 5 points less because of your age, then your EUI can be updated with the 60 points. And if you apply for a 189 application, then your application will not be eligible for the 189 because you get a 5 points less. And if you, let's say, update 5 points later on in the same EUI, or if you lodge a new EUI, then it will be considered as a new date, because if the points changes in the EUI, then the date of effect also changes for the expression of interest, if it's an existing EUI or if it's a new EUI, it doesn't matter. There is a question from Dhawal. He's asking that 65 points as engineering technologies in South Australia, is it good enough to get 491? Yes, Dhawal, I think it's a good enough for engineering technologies, 65 points. If you apply throughout the regional South Australia working 6 months as last financial year, then we have received an invitation, but just wait for this financial year update as well. If unless they do not make much more changes, then you can be eligible, Yuan has a question about for partner skill assessment. Will the work experience in accounts from 2009 to 2014 be considered for skill assessment to claim additional 5 points, or the work experience would be within last 10 years? Actually, so you may be able to get the skill assessment maybe through your study and all, but for experience points, it should be in last 10 years. So if your experience is above more than 10 years, because here, if you consider last 10 years, it is 2013 August, So any experience before that, they will not consider it to claim the points. There is a question from Sunny. So what are the chances of getting 189 grant if I received an invitation while being offshore and lodged it while onshore? So chances for 189 grant, actually, it doesn't make any difference for onshore or offshore, because you can apply onshore or you can apply offshore. It all depends that when you apply for the expression of interest, you claim the right points, you had a skill assessment, and you are eligible to get the invitation legally. Then if you supply those evidences during your visa application, you should be able to get the visa, definitely. It's just a matter of time, and it will not make much difference about lodging an offshore or onshore application. That is another question from Kushagra. So what about 491 visa, March 2022? So we know that some of the visa applications are still pending from last year as well. We have also a few visa applicants, but it is, most likely because of individual situation. But if you think that your processing has been delayed without any other concerns, there is no update yet, no other requirement has requested as well, you should be able to send an email or call them for an update, or do a global feedback where you can request an actual response from the immigration that why it has been delaying your application, whereas the processing time has already been passed, Okay, so I think this will be the last question for the day from Ashan. So can I apply for visiting visa for parents while I am in a 190 BRISM visa? Yes, you can apply for a visitor visa for the parents when you are on a 190 BRISM visa. You need to just supply all the genuine temporary entrant evidences for your parents that they have sufficient funds, income to support them, when they'll be here, and they should go to overseas after like before the current visa expires. So we believe that supplying those evidences support your parents' visa application. So there are no restrictions. So, okay, let's just take a few more questions because we're still getting the questions. So Lenny is asking, I had been worked 6 years as a kitchen attendant and 2 years as a chef, but casual same company. At next year, I'm finished my diploma of cookery. Is it any chances for me to get a sponsorship without graduate visa? So Lenny, actually, you need to have a 2 years of full-time experience for 482 or 3 years of full-time experience. Generally, casual experience is not acceptable. So I believe that you should do a full-time experience. And for specifically 186, they consider the experience, which is a post-qualification. So we believe that you should apply for a graduate visa, get a full-time experience, and then apply for 482 or 186 visa, you know. Bakas is asking that we have heard from some people that full-time work experience used to claim points during COVID time is being refused by the department if you are on a student visa, though you were allowed to work full-time. Is this true? Actually, we have seen a couple of refusals as well, but not for our clients. But you can easily challenge the decision of that department or case officer, because actually if immigration says that you can work full-time, then it doesn't mean that it is only for working in working to support, you know. If you're doing a skilled job and if you work 20 hours or work full-time, they should be able to allow to claim full-time experience because you didn't breach any visa condition. You work full-time because immigration has advised you to work, or immigration wants you to work, or even Australian government wants you to work full-time to support labor shortage here in Australia, you know. So you can challenge that decision in tribunal and you can win the case. We believe that. And that's another question from Sukhpinder. Can we start job ready program before study finished for chef? So actually you cannot start job ready program, but you can apply for a first step for the provisional skill assessment if you completed certificate 3 and 4 in commercial cookery. And when you apply for the temporary graduate visa and start working after diploma, you can apply for the like job ready program second step, you know. Okay, so I believe there are no other questions, and it was quite like good number of questions we have answered already. So thank you guys for asking the questions, and we hope that like we have answered all of the questions here. And if you still have any other doubts in relation to your application or in relation to these questions, you can contact our nearest Aussizz office and you can make an appointment and meet one of our registered migration agent. We definitely know that you will find the right guidelines when you're applying or lodging any visa applications. So at the end, I would just say that if you're eligible for any visa, or if you think that you can be eligible, don't wait until like you complete your study or something. Just meet any any migration agent in Aussizz, and they will let you know that even if your study has not finished, you might be eligible for PR, maybe based on your overseas studies or overseas experience. So contact our nearest office and check your eligibility to apply for the permanent residency. So see you next time. And again, we'll be doing this session next week at 5 o'clock at same time. So please spread the awareness that we are doing this session with your family and friends. So even if they have any questions next time, they can ask during the session and it can definitely help them. Thank you, everyone.